Hey everybody! Are y'all ready to get started on our starry night? I am. Let's go. What I want you to do first is get something to practice on, okay? Follow along with me. Practice first, and then get your final paper, the one that's going to be your final project, okay? So if you have a whiteboard and expo, you can use that. If you don't, just get a sheet of practice paper and practice drawing this out first, and then begin your final, okay? So first thing we want to do is look at the composition of his work. And what do I mean by composition is how did he lay it out? He has the cypress tree over here, his moon. He has the town, the mountains, the wind. That's how he laid out the composition of this landscape. Okay, so the first thing we're going to start with is getting the composition down of the cypress tree. It's over here on the left, almost in the corner, not all the way. So let's go ahead and get that. And like I said, I'm using black paper because I'm using oil pastels. If you don't have oil pastels, you can use any other thing to color with. Just use white paper so it shows up, okay? So what I'm going to do is follow the shape that he's created when he drew this tree, okay? Now, it's not all the way in the corner. It's almost in the corner. I'm going to come up, and I'm just following along. And it comes to a point. There's a little point. And then it goes back up. And this point is a lot longer, right? And then tiny little point. And then it goes off the page. All right? Now, let's try the other side. We're going to follow. It comes out a little bit. Goes down. It's got a little point here and then goes down. Another point that comes out a little bit more and goes down. And I'll stop right there. And now we are right here with this curved line, bringing it to a point and then bringing it down. And then he's got one that comes out a little bit and it goes down. All right. So remember, you're practicing. Let's stop here with that. Go ahead and move on to our next area we can focus on. We can go ahead and create that illusion of space by getting the horizon line down. So down here, we have the foreground, the middle ground, and our background. Let's go ahead and create that space. I'm starting here, finding where the land meets the sky. It goes behind the tree, goes up a little bit of a hill, more of a hill, and then it kind of gets a little wavy up here at the top, and then goes off the page. Okay? Now, I have a hill in front of this one, so we got to create a little bit more of a space by adding this hill in front of it. So it goes down, and it just kind of disappears and loops into the town, right? So, and then down here, looks like I have some bushes, some small trees, and I'm just going to create those with just some wiggly lines across the paper. All right? We're just getting our composition down. Pause the video anytime you need to. Okay. So, we have our cypress tree and our ground created. Now I'm going to switch over and get my yellow to do my moon, okay? And think about like a C to begin with, and then connecting it, okay? We have that. Now, let's add our wind. I'm going to get my blue. And I'm going to try to recreate this illusion of movement. So we got to kind of do this wavy line, and it kind of almost goes into a spiral, right? So let's start. Now when he does his work, he does the small brush strokes, lots of individual strokes to create that illusion of movement. So what I'm going to do is do a lot of dotted, dashed lines to create that look. See, I'm just repeating this dashed line, and I'm going to kind of curl it in. And I want to make it thicker, so I'm just going to repeat that shape until it's about the size I want it. And now I'm going to go in and I'm going to fill it in. Okay, just doing my dashed and dotted lines. Alright, so we have our first creation of movement. Let's do the second movement he created with the wind. It kind of swirls out from this one and then back into a swirl spiral. So I'm going to come around and spiral it in. Doing the same technique, little dashed dotted lines. Okay, so we have our wind. Now, I'm going to add a little bit of white in there. Same thing, dashed and dotted. And you're going to be doing this with your colored pencils, your crayons, whichever one you prefer. With markers, you don't have to use white. You can just use a lighter blue. I don't have a lighter blue with my oil pastels, so I'm going to create light blue by doing white first, and then I can go over it a little bit, and it will make it a little bit lighter than the blue that it originally was. Alright, so I'm going to do the same thing down here. And I'm kind of making these a little bit longer and thicker. I'm just kind of trying to get this shape down. So I might make it darker and thicker of the color in some places than others to get that shape to appear. Okay? And I'm going to add a little bit more blue. It's kind of like a bluish greenish in a way, but it's okay. Alright, so we have our movement of wind. Now we can go around our moon, our crescent moon. So I'm just going to repeat the same thing I did with the wind, just using the yellow, and I'm kind of making longer lines. Coming in with that white. You are using crayons or markers or color pencils. Try to find a dark yellow and a lighter yellow to kind of get these shades that we are looking for. All right. So now let's do our tree. The paper's stuck a little bit. Okay. Now I'm going to use black and brown, and I'm going to do long lines up the tree. Putting them anywhere I want. Then I'm going to come back through and do the brown in the spaces that's left on the paper. And notice how I'm not filling it all the way in. I'm going to use the black paper to help create that value from this oil pastel that's darker on the black paper. So I have a light dark black, a light black and a dark black. All right. So now I really want this wind to stand out, so what I'm going to do is kind of outline it now. And go in with that spiral. So what I'm going to do is I need to color the rest of my sky. But I want this wind to stand out. Okay, so now I'm going to get my two blues that I have, and I'm going to do longer lines than I did for the wind. Okay, and there's something we need to add to the sky. What do you think is needed for our sky? Yes, the stars. So get these, a yellow and a white. And first we're going to start with dots to figure out where the positions of our stars are. We have one, boop. So now, doing the same thing I did around the moon, I'm going to go in circles and create that shape. And using the white too. Just doing the dashed dotted lines. Around all my stars. And our last two. Okay, now when I look at my sky, I have a little bit of yellow here over the mountain, so I'm going to add some yellow into that. I have some right here too. Okay, what do y'all think so far? It's looking pretty cool. All right, lastly, let's get our mountains, our hills. This one up here is a little bit darker than the rest, so it's probably further in the distance. So I'm going to add my brown and black to it. And I'm just doing the same thing, just doing the dotted dash lines. And this one's pretty blue. So I'm just going to kind of go with these long lines to create that shape of the hill. And then go in a little bit with the white. And then finish out my hills. And it gets pretty dark over here, so I'm going to use the black to finish that out. And a little bit of black there, and then go up here with the white. Now, we have our town down here. This is where I want you to use your own creativity, your own imagination. What is down here? Is there a river that runs through? Is there a lake? Is it a city? What's happening down here? Is there more cypress trees down here? It is up to you. I want you now to use your own imagination, your own creativity to finish out our inspirational Vincent van Gogh piece. Now, you should still just be practicing, getting the technique with the dotted dash to create these little small lines. All right? I hope y'all had fun today. Bye.